There's a lot of talk out there about how hard it is to learn English. Everywhere you go, someone's saying, "It's difficult. You'll never get it." English is one of the hardest languages to master. And I get it. I've been there. But I'm here to tell you, learning English is not damn hard. Yes, it can be challenging at times, just like anything else in life, but trust me, it's not something you can't overcome. It's not impossible, and it's definitely not as hard as people make it out to be. English is a language that you can learn, just like any other skill. It's all about mindset, approach, and consistency. Let me tell you about my own journey, and I promise you'll see things from a different perspective. When I first started learning English, I was overwhelmed by the idea that there were so many rules, exceptions, and vocabulary to learn. It felt like there was an endless list of things to remember. I'd hear people talk about English grammar, and I'd feel like my head was spinning. But here's the truth. You don't need to be perfect to be fluent. You don't need to know every single rule to understand and speak English confidently. You just need to know how to communicate. And communication is what matters most. Now, I want to make one thing clear. The hardest part is the beginning. Like with anything else, the first step is always the most difficult because you don't know where to start. But once you get into the rhythm, it becomes easier. The more you practice, the more you'll feel comfortable with the language. And yes, you might make mistakes, but mistakes are just part of the process. They're not a reflection of your ability. Instead, they are proof that you're learning and improving. I know. You're probably thinking, but English has so many rules. What about phrasal verbs, irregular verbs, and all those weird sentence structures? And yeah, English has some tricky parts, no doubt. But here's the thing. You don't have to know everything all at once. You don't have to master every rule or perfect your pronunciation right away. You don't need to be perfect to start speaking. Let me give you an example. Think about when you were learning your first language. You didn't start by memorizing grammar rules, did you? No, you learned by listening, by mimicking, by repeating what others said. And guess what? That's exactly how you can learn English too. You don't need to start with complex sentences or complicated grammar. Just start by using simple words and slowly build your vocabulary and confidence. Here's the best part. You already know more English than you think. How many words do you already understand? How many English songs do you know? How many movies or TV shows have you watched in English? Trust me, you're already surrounded by English. It's all around you in music, movies, social media, and even in conversations with friends. That's a great start. One of the easiest ways to get better at English is by practicing it every day. But it doesn't mean you have to sit down for hours and study grammar books. Make English a part of your life. You can practice while doing things you enjoy. Listen to music in English. Watch shows or movies with subtitles. Try reading a book or article, even if you don't understand every word. That's okay. The goal is exposure. The more you hear, read, and see the language, the more natural it will feel. When I started improving my English, I didn't put pressure on myself to understand everything immediately. I started small with things I liked. I watched movies, listened to songs, and read articles about topics I was passionate about. It's about having fun while you learn. Don't stress about every little detail. And don't focus on perfection. Language is about communication, not being perfect. So, talk to people, make mistakes, and learn from them. That's the real secret to mastering English. Now, let's talk about something that trips up a lot of people. Fear of speaking. A lot of learners are scared of speaking English because they worry about making mistakes, about sounding silly, or being judged. But here's the thing. Nobody is judging you. The people you speak with are just happy that you're learning their language. They'll be patient with you. And if you make a mistake, guess what? That's okay. In fact, I'd argue that making mistakes is the best way to learn. Every time you make a mistake, you get one step closer to becoming fluent. Confidence is key, and it comes with practice. Don't let fear hold you back from speaking. You don't need to wait until you're perfect. You can start right now. Find someone to practice with or even speak to yourself. Speaking is the fastest way to improve. So just do it. The more you speak, the more confident you'll become. Another thing that makes English easier than people think is the simplicity of everyday conversation. English is actually a very practical language for daily life. You don't need to memorize fancy words or learn complicated grammar to communicate with people. In fact, most conversations are simple and casual. You'll find that in most interactions, people use simple phrases, short sentences, and easy vocabulary. If you're looking to start speaking English right away, start by learning the phrases and vocabulary you use every day. Focus on words that will help you in real-life situations. For example, you might start by learning how to greet someone, ask for directions, order food, or talk about the weather. These are the kinds of things you'll use all the time, and they're easy to learn and practice. And here's something I want you to really understand. English is not as rigid as you think. You don't have to memorize hundreds of rules to speak well. The key is getting comfortable with the basics and then expanding your knowledge as you go. You'll find that once you understand the structure of the language and learn a few essential grammar rules, the rest just falls into place. Now, I know some of you are probably still feeling overwhelmed by the idea of learning English. You might be thinking, this all sounds great, but how do I get started? Let me give you a few practical tips that will help you. Start with what you know. Don't try to learn everything at once. Start with the basics, the most common words, the most essential phrases. Build a strong foundation, and the rest will come. Surround yourself with English. Whether it's through movies, music, or books, immerse yourself in the language. The more you hear, the more you'll absorb. Practice every day. Even if it's just for 10 or 15 minutes, consistency is the key. Do something every day that helps you practice English. Find a language partner. If you can, find someone who speaks English and practice with them. There are tons of apps and websites where you can meet language partners. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes are part of the process. Each mistake is a learning opportunity. And the more mistakes you make, the more you learn. Have fun with it. Learning English doesn't have to be a chore. Find ways to make it enjoyable, whether it's through watching your favorite shows or reading about topics you love. Learning English is not hard, and it's definitely not impossible. Sure, there will be challenges along the way, but that's what makes the process rewarding. Every small step you take brings you closer to fluency. You can do this, and I promise you, it's not as damn hard as everyone makes it seem. Remember, the most important thing is to enjoy the process, to stick with it, and to celebrate every little victory along the way. Learning English is a journey, not a race. Take it one step at a time, and soon enough, you'll find that English comes naturally to you. Remember, the most important thing is to enjoy the process, to stick with it, and to celebrate every little victory along the way. Learning English is a journey, not a race. Take it one step at a time, and soon enough, you'll find that English comes naturally to you. But let's talk a bit more about why enjoying the process is so crucial. You know, a lot of people start learning English and then get frustrated because they feel like they're not progressing fast enough. They want to be fluent in just a few weeks, and when that doesn't happen, they give up. But here's the thing. If you focus too much on the end goal, you'll miss all the small wins along the way. Let's shift the mindset a little. Think about how many words you've already learned. How many times have you understood something you didn't understand a week ago? Maybe you picked up on a new phrase or correctly used a word you were once unsure about. Every time that happens, you're moving closer to your goal. The more you recognize those little milestones, the more motivated you'll feel to keep going. Don't wait until you speak perfect English to celebrate. Celebrate the process itself. Every time you learn something new, you're one step closer to fluency. And it's those little moments of progress that will help you keep going when things get tough. It's important to understand that there is no final destination when it comes to language learning. Even native speakers continue to learn new words and phrases throughout their lives. So, don't think of fluency as a point you'll reach and then stop. Learning English is a lifelong process. It's something you can always improve, and that's the beauty of it. Now, I know what you're thinking, but how do I actually make sure I keep going and don't get discouraged? Good question. Here's the key. You need to build a routine and make English a part of your daily life. The more consistently you practice, the more naturally the language will come to you. It doesn't matter if you don't study for hours each day. What matters is that you're doing something every day, even if it's just for 10 to 15 minutes. Just do